What's up, friends, and welcome to today's video. This is going to be a get ready with me. I've had a few people ask over on Instagram, and it's definitely a lot easier to film this kind of video for YouTube. So that's what we're doing today, and if you want to see what I do almost every day with a few tweaks here and there, then just keep watching. Okay, so in the mornings, all I do to wash my face is just use water. I don't use a cleanser or anything because I don't want to strip my face of the oils. I have oily skin anyway, so that's just what I do in the mornings. And then I went ahead and put Cetaphil moisturizer just around my eyes and around my nose because that's where I get really dry. But for the rest of my face, I'm going to be using this Soap & Glory Bright and Pearly Radiance Cocktail. So if you don't know, vitamin C is really good for brightening your skin and evening your skin tone. So aside from the breakouts that I currently have, you can tell that my skin is like a lot more even toned than it used to be. And that is due to these two products. The first one I found, I use both of these at night, is a Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair Moisturizer. It has vitamin C and retinol in it, both of which are very good for evening your skin tone and obviously fighting wrinkles. And then I also found this one at TJ Maxx. It's just a vitamin C and turmeric face serum, and I also use that at night. And I will tell you, I noticed a difference from both of these within days, like literally within 1 to 2 days, and then obviously it just got better from there. I have hormonal acne, so like once I have a breakout, even if it's not really bad, once it goes away, there's just a dark spot there, and like that's super annoying. That's why I don't like to go anywhere without makeup, because my skin, there's like discoloration. So we're working on it, but I figured I would share that. And then again, this is the one that I use in the mornings, and I use it under my makeup, sort of like a primer. And while that is kind of soaking into the skin, I am going to tweeze my eyebrows. Yes, I tweeze them every day. Some days there are no hairs that I need to pluck. Some days there are a lot, so I just do it every day, and that's how I keep up with my own eyebrows. I don't get them waxed, I don't get them threaded. I trim them myself, I tweeze them myself, I do everything myself. Okay, so the next thing I do is I take this Anastasia Contour Cream Kit, but I do not use it to contour. And then I take this little e.l.f. It says it's a contour brush, but it's just basically like a little pencil brush. And I take the orange right here, and I put this under my eyes, and this counteracts the darkness. You don't need a whole lot because it's going to come through your concealer if you put too much. So see how much of a difference you can tell between this eye and this eye? Like, yes. Okay, and I will say I already have my beauty sponge. This is just a Real Techniques one. You run it underwater and it gets bigger, and it's better to apply your foundation, obviously. But I will say every single time that I wash this, so like every morning, I put a pump of hand soap on it and I like clean it, and that has seriously extended the life of these things. I don't know why I wasn't doing that before, but that's just a pro tip to make these last longer. So I'm going to use that. And then I just started using this like a couple weeks ago, and I am seriously in love. I went to Ulta, told them what I wanted, which was a foundation that isn't gonna be, like, I'm very oily, so I like matte looks, but I don't really like to look like a chalkboard. And so that's exactly what I told her, and she color matched me, recommended this, and I freaking love it. It is the Stila Stay All Day foundation, and then it also comes with its own concealer on the top. So this is like to cover blemishes. It's not a brightening concealer. It's the same shade as the foundation, which I have Hue 5. And I'm seriously in love with this stuff, so yeah. Here's what the top of it looks like. What you do is you put your fingers right here and you like press it down, and it comes out of the middle. And it really doesn't take that much, so that's why I usually have some left over. But I just take it on my finger and apply it to the face. So this is what it looks like when you do it. And then I do put a little bit on my jawline. I don't need as much with this foundation, but my old foundation oxidized, so I really tried to drag it down. And then we'll take the beauty sponge and just blend that in. Next, I'm going to move on to the concealer that came with this foundation to cover up my blemishes. I just have this random Sigma P88 Precision Flat Angled brush. And that's just because it's the only brush that I just like found one day in my jar, and that is what I use for this concealer. So I just take, first I make sure there's none left over. And then I'll just dip into it and cover up what we need to cover up. Okay, now I'm going to take my brightening concealer, which is the Tarte Creaseless Concealer. I got the lightest shade in 85 Porcelain Sand. And I will be using this to highlight. And yes, I realize it might look like I use a ton of concealer, but that is because my last one was not bright enough. And I'm just to the point where I want to be like extremely highlighted now because I'm just so pissed off at all the opportunities that I missed. So I'm going to blend this in with the sponge. Then I'm going to take my Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder. Now, I literally, some people use powders like this loose powder to bake, and that's what I tried to do the first time I used this, but then it ended up just like working, like I didn't need to brush away the extra powder, so I just put some in the lid, like this. Take my sponge, literally dip right in it, so it's like a ton of powder, and I just put that over everywhere that I concealed. So like it seems like a lot of powder, but then it just makes it matte, and I just call it good. And then I'm going to set this to the side because I'm going to use it here in a second, but then I move on to my face setting powder, which is this L'Oreal Infallible. I'm just trying to use this up, but that's the old foundation that I used to use. And again, I just take my sponge and use it for powder. This is seriously a game changer. I don't know why I waited so long to do it. I saw like beauty gurus doing it and I was like, that's stupid. And then I tried it and I was like, oh, they're right. Like everything else. So I just set where I did not put concealer. And then I'm going to move on to bronzer. I use Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This stuff smells so good. It's in 6676. That's all it says. But it smells like suntan lotion, which makes me nostalgic and I love it. Then I just use this like angled, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a blush brush, but I've always used it for bronzer, so whoops. And I just put this around the outside of my face. Okay, I then move on to contour, and I use this palette. It is the Don't Be Afraid to Dazzle palette from Tarte. It just has a bronzer and a highlighter in it. So I use this contour brush from Real Techniques, just go around in here and I will contour my nose very lightly. I kind of take it up into my eyebrow to make it all flow, put a little under my lip, and then if I'm like going out, I will go hard with this, but if it's just a normal day, we'll do a little. And I realize it might look like I'm being heavy-handed on camera. The lighting, like, in real life is a lot different. But I will say, to some degree, I do go a little heavy-handed because I blend it all out at the end. So just don't get scared yet. Next thing is going to be blush. I have been using this palette ever since it came out. I don't think I'll ever stop because I don't think I'll ever hit pan. But it is the Jaclyn Hill by Becca Cosmetics palette. And for blush, I typically take this middle shade, sometimes this guy, and then like this is like a never for me, it's just very bright. And they're very pigmented, which is great. And then highlight, I'm going to take this one. Sometimes I do this, it just depends. Or sometimes I'll use the highlight in the other palette. But for now, this is what we're gonna be doing. And I just use this e.l.f. blush brush, take a couple swipies of that middle color, and just put it, just spit right there. Somehow I kept it really subtle. Good. Okay, so that's it for that. And then for highlight, I just have this random brush. I have such a random brush assortment. And I will just dip it in there a couple times like that. And I like to do kind of like not a stripe of highlight. I like to just have a nice little glow going on. And this stuff is really pigmented again, so you don't need much. So I'll put it on my cheeks, down my nose, and I'll take my finger and put some my Cupid's bow. And like I said for my contour, if I'm going out, I'll go in with these face steps, but today I don't really have much planned, so we're not gonna do that. And then the last thing that I will do is I'll take this big fluffy brush, which needs to be clean, and I'll just take the leftover powder that I have sitting in here, and I'll just kind of push it into the skin and use it to blend everything out. So yeah, there's that. Okay, next is gonna be eyebrows. I use the NYX Professional Makeup pencil. It's like retractable. One end has a spoolie, the other side has the pencil. I usually use Espresso, and yes, it is spelled E-X-Presso. Okay, I understand that's not the correct way to say the word espresso, but the color that I usually use is Espresso. They didn't have that last time, so I just got brunette. And so first I will use the spoolie to comb through. My eyebrows honestly need trimmed right now. Like, can you see those things? Like, usually I'll take scissors right there and just snip them. And that's how I trim my eyebrows. If you want a full video on that, let me know. I probably do that like every couple of months or so, but since I've been taking hair, skin, and nails from 1st Phorm, my hair, like everywhere, has just been growing like crazy, so it's about time. And I'll just fill in my brows. There's really nothing special to this. You kind of just have to, I can't do this and talk, learn your brow shape and what works for you. Everybody's always like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know, I just do it. And then I'll use the spoolie to kind of blend it out. And it doesn't have to be perfect yet because we're going to go over it with powder. Okay, and as always, our eyebrows are sisters, not twins. And I also wanted to add, one of the things you can do if you want to start keeping up with your own eyebrows and not having to like go get them waxed all the time or threaded or whatever, is once you get them waxed or threaded, tweeze them every single day after that. That way you know like where the hairs are that you don't want, and you can just continuously keep those out of the way and not let them grow back, obviously. Or if you feel comfortable enough, you can draw the shape that you want. Like, even if your eyebrows are grown out, like, get like a black eyeliner pencil and draw the shape that you want, and then tweeze everything outside of that, and then take it off and keep up with it that way. Those are just a couple pro tips. So next I'm going to go over them with powder. I just used the NYX Eyebrow Cake Powder. Didn't even realize this was called cake powder until just now. So now every time I use it, I'm gonna want cake. And I just use, okay, this is a Morphe E11, but it's just this angled brush. And I use the darker powder. And I basically just set the eyebrow, go over it. It's also helpful for when you want like the softer edges. I don't like my eyebrows to be super harsh. That's just not my thing. So there are eyebrows. Okay, next I'm going to tightline. Now, I have yet to find a solid, like creamy, twist up eye pencil that stays. That is drugstore. If you have suggestions, please let me know, because I'm so over it. But right now I'm using the NYX Keeping It Tight eyeliner. It's just, I don't know. I want something that's creamy and thick and like really jet black. All the freaking eyeliners that I try are like gray. They just don't do it for me. So I'm going to Tightline now. And I'm just gonna say I look really freaking scary when I do it. So just prepare yourself. Okay, now we're going to move on to eyeshadow. I will say I use a different palette almost every day, but two of my staples are the Morphe, this is a 35, no. I have the 35O palette, which is a lot of neutrals, and that's one of my staples. This is the first Jaclyn Hill palette, like, she didn't create this one. They, like, collaborated a few years ago. So I use that one sometimes, and then I have the actual Jaclyn Hill palette, which looks like this. So I'm going to be using that today, and I literally have the same exact eye routine. The only thing that changes are like the palettes and the colors, okay? I use the same brushes, same technique, same steps, whatever. So the first step is I use a Sigma Diffused Crease Brush. It's an E38. And that's what it looks like. And I always start with like a very light neutral shade. So I'm going to be using, with this brush, I'm just going to show you now, I'm going to be using this one. And then this one. These two. It could change every day. Like I literally just pick a couple of light shades to get started. And I blend this all in my crease. Now I'm going to take that second shade. Okay, and then the next thing that I do, and I know this is kind of out of order, but it's just kind of what I have found works for me, is I'm going to take this flat shader brush. This is just like a janky one I got on Amazon in literally like 2013. And I will take a light shade for my eyelid, and also I'll pick my highlight shade. So for my eyelid, I'm going to be using this one, and then for my highlight, I'm going to be using this one. So I just pat a light color, that pinkish color I just showed you, on the lid. And that one's kind of more like a pressed powder, so it would probably show up better with some type of like MAC Fix Plus, which I don't own, or glitter glue, which I don't own. But yeah, you can always brighten or like increase the intensity of a shadow by using something like that. Okay, so I have the lid done, and then I'm going to move on to my highlight. And I just put that right under the brow. Okay, and then I'm also going to take that highlight shade and put it on the inner corner. And I kind of drag it into the lid shade, as well as the lower lash line. Then I'm going to take a Morphe M330, and it is more of a rounded, or no, it's more of like a tapered blending brush. So it's a little bit more precise, and I will take this with darker colors to put in my crease. So today I'm going to do, let's do this one, and then the darkest shade will be this one. So I usually just pick two per brush and just go for it. And put it in the crease. And I know a lot of people say, like, this is where things get difficult. This is where they feel like they turn into like a raccoon, or they just don't know how to like do the smoky eye effect. And I will tell you, it's all in the brushes. Like literally just pick up these two brushes, they will do the work for you, and you're good to go. Like if you're trying to use like this to do your smoky eye, that is the path to Raccoon Town, okay? Because that's just not what that brush is meant for. So I'm gonna take the darkest shade now, and I just pick up like a little bit of it and place it in the crease. And this is the part of my eye routine where if I'm going out, I'm going in. Okay, and then if you feel like you need to blend more, you can go back to that original rounded brush and just kind of do that. I feel like I want a little bit darker. No, I shouldn't. It's a Sunday, okay? It's the holy day. We should just chill. Okay, so that's it for the eyelid. Now we're gonna move on to the lower lash line. Okay, now this is a random brush from BH Cosmetics, but it's basically a flat push brush, I've heard these called. This is major key to like up-leveling your eye makeup. Like this is what makes all the difference. This is what this is my favorite part. This is what makes me feel like I really nailed my eye look, and that is the lower lash line. So we're going to go through the series of colors that we used on the top, starting from the lightest to the darkest. Actually, probably not. We're not going to use the lightest one. I'm going to use this one, and then this one, and we might do this on like the very outer corner just because I like the lower lash line to be like pretty dark. And I actually just learned this trick a couple weeks ago because beforehand I was like, this is not working. So what you want to do is when you go into this color, go like this on like the flat sides of the brush, you know what I'm saying? That way you pick up a lot of color and it's not just like this. Like you're not just pushing it in. So we got the whole brush loaded with color, and you're just going to go along the lower lash line. I usually do up to like where I put the highlight, which is about 1/3 of my eye. And yeah. And another thing is like, don't be scared to drag these down because that's what gives you that smoky look. And if you are scared to ever try any kind of makeup thing, just try it at night before you take your makeup off. Like if you want to practice your winged liner, practice it every single night. If you want to like try and just like beat your face, like do a smoky eye, do like a hard contour, just do it at night and like you'll be surprised at how much you love it. And then you won't be scared to do it like for real. So I'm taking a darker color and I'm just not going in quite as much. I'm putting it on about like the outer half of my eye. And I know you guys are like kind of far away, but like I can't zoom, so sorry about it. I'm going to go in with that darkest brown I showed you and just do like the outer third. And I can already tell I'm going to want this darker because I'm going to put black liner on the top. I'm going to pick up a pretty dark brown and just do the very outer corner. And I know it looks a little crazy right now, but what do we always say? We will blend it out. You gotta trust the process. Now I just have this random, it's from e.l.f., a blending eye brush. So it's basically just a pencil brush, and I use this on the lower lash line. You might want to close your eyes for this because it like sprays freaking eyeshadow up in your eyeballs, but I'm really comfortable with touching my eyes, and I literally wipe off my eyeball after this. Okay, so I just wipe it off. And we are done with eyeshadow. So I will say at this point, sometimes I'll put a white eyeliner on the bottom, but again, I've not found one that's like creamy and stays and like does the job. And I've also been back into putting black eyeliner on the bottom lately, so I'm just going to take that same eyeliner from earlier and do that. Another thing you can do if you really want to make your liner on your waterline stay is you can use that flat push brush, use this, and like dip it in some black eyeliner and just like press on your waterline and it will set your like gel liner, but then you have eyeshadow in your eyeball and like that's not fun. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is winged liquid liner. Now this is dangerous stuff. It knows when you're scared, so you gotta act like everything is fine around. It's like a horse, okay? You gotta just be cool. But I definitely don't do this every day. It's just something that I've been doing lately because I feel like it. On a regular day, like if I'm going to class or something, I'll just use this eyeliner and line the top with just like a gel liner or whatever. It's obviously not winged. So I honestly don't even know what my tips are for this, except practice makes perfect. I'm still not even that good at it. People seem to think I am, but I just politely disagree. One of the things I have noticed for myself is I'll start at the bottom and I'll like make the wing, you know, connect up to here, which is like one of the cues or whatever, one of the tips. But the thing with the top is like make sure, so say you have, this is the eyeliner up here, make sure you're not like drawing a straight line out to it because then it's just like a big chunk of eyeliner right there and you want it to be like this, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hopefully I'll nail it and I'll be able to show you. Okay, so this wing is like not as sharp as I would like it to be, but I don't know, yeah, you can definitely tell. It's not just like that straight line like I was talking about, like it goes like this, and that's what I like. I like it to come up and out, not just like a big chunk of like fucked up eyeliner. So when that happens, I'll let it dry, take a Q-tip and just wipe it all off and it doesn't ruin anything. That's also a pro tip. And then if it's not as sharp as you would like, let it dry, and sometimes I'll take my fingernail and I'll literally just like cut off the bottom half. And it comes off on my fingernail. That's kind of weird. I don't even know. Like, I think I just figured that out myself. But now you can tell it's a little bit more sharp. Hopefully I'm in focus. But yeah. Honestly, every single time I do my liquid eyeliner, it's literally me just winging it. Pun intended. This one's already about to be fucked up. Okay. Well, not exactly even, but the fingernail trick helps. So you can just kind of shape it to what you need. So now it looks better. Here's the other one. Hopefully those are in focus. My eyeball is way too close to the camera, I can't tell. But yep, there's the liquid eyeliner. And then last thing is obviously going to be mascara. I curl my lashes. This lash curler is from Kevyn Aucoin. It was a gift. So, you know, I like to think I'm fancy, but in all reality, I would probably just buy a drugstore eyelash curler. And I do clean it every so often because even though I curl my lashes before I put mascara on them, I never curl them after I put mascara on them because I just feel like that's damaging. That's not good. Somehow, like, stuff gets built up on here. So just make sure you're cleaning it, okay? And then the mascara that I use and love is Maybelline The Falsies. And I'll put 2 coats of this on. I have used the Too Faced Better Than Sex, but it flakes off onto my face, and I hate that, especially because I work out a lot. I've used like high-end brands, and like literally a mascara is a mascara, and there's a lot of shitty ones, I will say that, but these, like this truly is like false lashes. I have naturally long lashes, so obviously I have a little bit of an advantage. And then in terms of false lashes, I've used the magnetic ones. They're just not as good as strip lashes in my opinion because the magnetic ones are too stiff, like they stay in a straight line and they don't like bend to your eye, even if you cut them into smaller chunks. So I don't know, I play around with them sometimes, but if I'm gonna do, like if I'm gonna go out, I'm like for sure gonna glue on lashes. So that's my 2 cents on lashes. And then as far as this mascara goes, I always start on the top of my lashes and then do them like normal, and you'll see I kind of shake it. I also kind of roll it when I'm putting it on my lashes. It just kind of helps comb through. I don't know, I feel like it's a helpful tip. And I'll kind of fan out the edges. So there's the difference. We're gonna do the same thing on the other eye. And then pro tip, if you get mascara on your skin, like on your face anywhere, just let it dry. Like I mentioned earlier, take a Q-tip, wipe it off. Doesn't ruin anything. It literally just flakes right off. Unless you're using waterproof, which I hate waterproof with a passion. Okay, and then for my second coat, I don't do on top. I just do like normal. Okay, so that is the end of the face. The last thing that I will do if I'm going out, this is like a special treat. If it's like a normal day, I'm not using this, but I use the Urban Decay De-Slick Setting Spray. This stuff works, like I said, I'm oily, so I look for any chance I can get, any product I can get that helps with that, and this definitely does. And then one more thing, obviously depending what I'm doing, I have like lots of different lip colors that I can play with, but if it's just a normal day, I like to throw on some lip gloss. I'm not going to do it here because I'm drinking my coffee and I got my aluminum straw because save the turtles, and I don't want to get lip gloss all over my straw. But my favorite lip gloss is this, it's a little expensive because Jaclyn Hill made me do it, but it is the Dior Lip Maximizer lip gloss. And it is in the shade 001, so it's like the lightest shade, and it has like that cooling sensation, so when you put it on, it's supposed to like plump your lips. I don't know if it really does, but I like the way it feels. Like I really like that. Buxom also has lip plumper lip glosses. I have one of those, but it's old. It's like, I need to throw it away. So yeah, I'll usually just throw on a coat of this and then call it good. So yeah, that's the makeup look. And yes, do I do this every day? If I'm going somewhere outside of the gym, I'll go to the gym with no makeup. But, or like the grocery store, okay? But if I have like an appointment or I'm going to class or I'm working or whatever, this is what I do. I don't always do winged eyeliner, I will say that. Yes, does it take me a little bit? Kind of, but when I'm not talking, I can get it done in like maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm someone who I really enjoy makeup. I love makeup. I love doing my makeup when I get to do it. So, I know this isn't like feasible for everyone, you know, like I don't have kids, I don't have a family, I don't have a pet. Like I have more time to myself than like probably the average human does. So I understand that this might be a lot for some people, but it was requested and I figured I would share with you guys just because like I'm no one special. Like I have just wasted years of my life watching YouTube tutorials from Casey Holmes, Jaclyn Hill, Desi Perkins, just all of them. You know what I mean? So I figured I would share my tips and yeah, if you watched until now, as always, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. If you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe before you leave, that would be dope. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.
Take a look past the innocence.